My mother demanded I hand over my house to her because my little sister needs it more than me. I, 31 male, have a sister, 28 female, that has honestly been the golden child to my mother. Not my father for as long as I can remember. My parents divorced when I was a teenager because my mother cheated with an old high school ex-boyfriend and has always been controlling, manipulative, and narcissistic. And sadly, my sister was like her little mini-me. Our mother also seemed to believe she had total authority over me any time she so much as snapped her fingers. She'd snap them and order me around like a dog. It was demeaning, and my sister always backed her up too. So, no surprise, I went to live with my dad full-time after our parents split, while my sister stayed with mom. The two of them were very alike, and both pretty much stopped speaking with my father unless it was about money, though I'm more like my dad. My father was very business-oriented and started teaching me how to do his line of work. As soon as I was 16, I got pretty good at it, and after 12 years of working for my father, I was made a partner in his company. Things were great, but then, about 8 months ago, tragedy struck. My father had become somewhat immunocompromised due to being a heavy smoker for much of his life and died at only 60 years old after he caught the virus. I met my mother and sister for the first time in years after we had a socially distanced funeral for my father over video call. My father was cremated by his own request and buried in a local cemetery, so there was no body or casket. My sister seemed to grieve, but my mother looked indifferent the entire time, though I honestly was not surprised. The last time she saw my father, she screamed at him that he owed her more money and then threatened to sue him, to which he just laughed at her. He'd paid alimony and child support as long as he was legally mandated to, and no more than that. And he even put $30K toward my sister's college fund. But 10 years after the divorce, he was no longer legally required to send mom money anymore because of the judge's ruling. And she's by no means broke. She works the same job she has had for nearly 3 decades, fully owns the old family home we used to share, and even rents out 2 of the rooms in it to Airbnb and Ampy regularly. She's by no means hurting for money. Sometime after the funeral, my dad's whatwa was read. Apparently, he'd figured that if his heavy smoking didn't eventually do him in, something else would, and even joked about it in a pre-recorded video. I was pretty much willed nearly all of his assets, from most of his money to his business and home. He left my sister a car, 2015 Nissan Altima, and about $10K in cash. My mother only got $1 grand and a few other items that she'd been claiming were rightfully hers since the divorce. Beyond that, I got the rest, and my girlfriend now lives with me in the house my father passed down to me. My sister pretty much went from finishing 2 years of community college to living off her boyfriend and only working part-time online for several years. And during that time, she got pregnant but suffered a traumatic miscarriage. I wasn't aware till after the funeral because we were practically no contact and no one else told me. When lockdown hit, her boyfriend's job started downsizing little by little, and eventually he was only able to stay on part-time, which hampered hers and his finances to the point he was finally telling her she needed to look for better employment as well since he was trying to find a second job. And then she got pregnant. She claims her and her boyfriend were careful, but calls it her miracle baby. One evening, I got an unexpected knock at my door, and when I answered, I was unpleasantly greeted by both my mother and sister. They both walked right in without even asking and made themselves comfortable in my living room. My girlfriend and I shared a look of confusion, and I asked why they'd come by. My sister was giggling and looking all over, opening doors, and seemingly giving herself a tour of my home. My mother had just plopped herself down on my sofa and snapped her fingers while demanding a cold bottled water. My girlfriend got the water for her, and I asked what they were here for. My sister seemed all giddy and just ignored me to continue snooping around my home. And before long, I heard her yell from down the hall, "Mommy, it's perfect." Yes, she still calls her mommy. My mother finally spoke up and said, "Well, I think it's time to did your brotherly duty," to which I was like, "What?" My mother then proceeded to say, "Now that your father has passed, this house should have gone to me since I was his only spouse, but you can still fix this. You make plenty of money and could just buy a new house. Your sister needs this one so much more since she's the one with a baby on the way. But if you're so determined on staying, you could just keep to one room and cover all of the bills until you decide to move out." My GF and I read enough Reddit to know exactly where this is going and how it'd play out if I let it go on. So I guess you could say we were mentally prepared. I took a deep breath and stated aloud, "That's not happening. You don't order me around, especially not in my own goddamn home. Yes, I make plenty of money, but like Dad, I'm gonna save it for when I really need it, not that you care." My mother started snapping her fingers at me like she used to and loudly stated, "Stop, I am your mother, and you will do as I say because I brought you into this world, and I'm the one in charge here. And as far as you're concerned, I am God. That means when I say jump, you say how high. This house is rightfully mine, and your sister will live here. Consider this your formal eviction, but since I'm gracious, I'll give you 2 weeks to pack your bags and transfer the deed to me. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking this can't be real, but then I just grabbed my cell phone and started dialing. My mother quickly stood up and yelled, "What are you doing?" And I retorted, "I'm doing what I should have done as soon as this shit started. I'm calling the cops to get you out of my effing house."